Okay. Good morning, good afternoon. How's everyone doing? If you can hear me okay, see me all right, put it into the chat, let me know. Should be working fine, I think. Yep, okay, good. Should be working well. We'll give it a minute or two and then we'll get started. Hey Pips Apprentice, good morning. Hey Linley, how are you doing? Hey Jimmy, good afternoon. Feels like it hasn't been a very long time since we last spoke. 2 sessions yesterday. Put into the for those of you who attended, I know Pips Apprentice, Linley, I think Jimmy was attending as well. Put into the chat, let me know what do you think of yesterday's webinar. I'm a bit tired today. Okay. Hey Christina, good afternoon. Good morning, how are you doing? Yeah, put it into the chat, let me know what you thought of yesterday's webinar with Tickmill. I think Angel Case was saying it's finally getting the insight into how I analyze the markets for during this live stream with you guys. So a bit of an insider view. And if you are watching and you're new to the session, do drop a message and say hi. Let me know where you're joining us from. And for the regulars, a big welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. Okay, and if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. If you can, do remember to help me out massively by clicking that like and subscribe button, that thumbs up button. Important, click that so that we can get more people onto the live stream. I think most of you have already. The Discord link is there. Do join us on Discord if you haven't joined us yet. Hey Christopher, how are you doing from Nigeria? Good to have you with us. Welcome to the live stream. Hope you become a regular like everyone else. I was going to say something, I forgot. I'm just trying to recall what I was trying to say. That's what I was thinking. Oh yeah, there is also going to be another session with Tickmill, I think next week. I'll send you guys the link for that next week. A different topic, but I'll let you know about that soon when it comes up. Okay. Hey Ayakame, good morning. How are you doing? Alrighty, let's motor on. Again, markets has moved, but not a lot, so I don't know if we're going to have that much to talk about today, but we'll get through it as usual. But first off, a quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as educational. Should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material. Please do your own due diligence, DYODD, as the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Now, with that, take that away. Jimmy is saying I should do more educational webinars. I am planning to. I'm actually building up a whole series of videos with that. It just takes a long time to put the slides together, to make sure the slides look and sound right and well, and transferring the thought on. So it does take a while to put it together. I do actually prefer this a lot more, where I just click the live button and jump on the session and just ramble on together with you guys. Alright, but yes, more educational webinars to come around. Hopefully we'll get more brokers on to support that webinars as well. So any brokers watching, hey, drop me a message, let me know, we can work something out together. Awesome, thanks for that, Jimmy. And hi, Jumarinas, how are you doing? Okay, so with what has happened last night, right? What has happened since the last time we spoke? We spoke at 3 p.m. yesterday, same time, same place, nothing much has happened. Right? A whole bunch of news, not super important news release. I mean, now you guys know how to trade the news, right? If you attended the session yesterday. We had some news release, but not super important ones, not big ones that would have moved the session super a lot. And that also reflects with what we've seen in the prices. I'll zoom it down a bit. There we go. All right, so yesterday we were at that point. It's just sat there, consolidated, and a slight push to the downside. So it did not push up as we thought it might, could have in that consolidation. Needs to stay, we said yesterday, needs to stay above 106 to remain bullish. It's just popped slightly lower right now at 105.84, almost 85. So I wouldn't say that, as much as it's broken the level, I wouldn't say that's very strong break. We might be looking at a bit of a retrace to come. All right, so that consolidation is done. So with that, we didn't have any big news from last night. Early this morning, again, we had Governor Bailey speaking from the BOE at IMF spring meetings. Headliner was very encouraging signs on world economy, not a big price mover. Governor McCallum from the BOC came down to downtick in core inflation, suggests pressures easing. Again, not a statement that gives us massive confidence that the BOC is going to cut rates yet. Bit positive, but not yet. And then Chair Powell with his headliner, where was it? No big things. No, this was from the day before, so nothing there. Delivers remarks. Let's see that. I'm not gonna watch that, so that's fine. No big surprises, right? The only thing we had from this morning, where was it? Hang on, go back there. From this morning, so that was yesterday. That's why it looked like it was so far away. We had Governor Bailey speaking at the International Finance Global UK economy on track with February forecast. That's fine. I'm not surprised by that. The only thing that we had from this morning was the Aussie employment numbers. Employment change for the Aussies. It was 116.5, got revised slightly upwards to 117.6. Expected 7.2, came out at a very disappointing minus 6.6K on employment change. But unemployment rate went from 3.7, expected a bigger jump to 3.9, but it only came in at a 3.8. So a bit of a mixed bag here in terms of the unemployment rate and the employment change number. And because of that mixed bag of numbers of data, red and green numbers there, you see that, I'll take that one away. Take that away, just you can see that line. You can see that it just sat there, pushed up slightly, pushed down slightly, and then it just sat on that resistance level. So no big surprises there again from the Aussies in the employment number front. And again, for those of you who attended yesterday, employment is not a major themed news this time round or during this period. That's why we haven't seen massive changes despite the minus 6.6K or despite that 3.8 number on unemployment. Okay, and then following on from that, not much else all through to unemployment claims. Again, that's a weekly number, not too concerned. through to not a lot of news, nothing much today. All right. So I think I said this yesterday. I thought it was going to be a bit of a retracement day yesterday. Today we're possibly looking at a completion of that retracement for a continuation of the pre-existing trend. Fingers crossed is what I'm looking for. All right. So because of there's no news, maybe it's retrace and then it's going to continue back either down or continue back up. And then on to tomorrow, I will tell you, we won't be on the session at 2, but we do have the UK retail sales number to be released. 0, previous was 0, expected 0.3 retail sales number for the UK. This is 1 hour before our session tomorrow. We possibly might see this as maybe a good number. Maybe a good number, bringing about some strength onto the pound dollar, but that will be for tomorrow. Okay, and early this morning, one of our members on Mehdi on Discord highlighted this statement from the BOJ. Right, from the BOJ. I'm trying to pronounce this. Okay, one of the members. I don't even know how to start pronouncing that. But one of the members, one of the board members, said that the short-term policy rate adjustment is likely to be slow. So there was a bit of a discussion on our Discord channel. You know, what does it mean? Short-term policy adjustments likely to be slow. The initial thought was coming from Mehdi, was that discussion about policy rates opens up the idea that maybe they're looking to they're open to further adjustments, just that it'll be slow. And because that they're open to further adjustments, we should see some strengthening in the yen. On release of the news, we did see the US yen push lower from 154.23 down. And at that hour, during that hour, it looked like quite a strong move down, or was forming a strong move down to 153.95. It was trying to break that 154 level. But my view, my take from this news was that for them to say that rate adjustments are likely to be slow, that brings about the idea that maybe they're going to take a longer time to continue hiking rates, right? They hiked rates first time in 17 years. It might be a bit longer before they hike rates again. And because of that, we're not going to see the yen strength, but instead we're going to see that yen weakness come back, maybe a bit more into play. And that's why I held off. In the next hour, we saw the US yen pushing slightly to the upside. It is, like what I said yesterday, the yen is at an interesting level. We have to wait and see what's going to happen, because it's still sitting between that super, well, not super high, but that previous swing high level and that 50% retracement level. So it says in the middle there, still undecided on what's the next move. Okay, so that's what it took me 2 days to hit target on a euro buy. Yeah, markets have been a bit draggy. I think I entered two trades this week. Was it? Yeah, I think I only entered 2 trades this week, and it wasn't massive trades. Right? It was small, quick trades, just because 2 or 3 trades, just because I wanted to get some activity in, trying to scalp the markets a little bit. So it has been a bit slow and draggy. If you are feeling that too, don't worry. We might be on the right track. If you have been hammering out trades left, right, and center, then do let me know. Maybe I'm missing out something. But yeah, for me, it's been quite slow and draggy. You probably sense that with my energy. I'm like, well, you know, hasn't been much news, hasn't been much happenings. I think that I'm actually looking forward into next week, where we have a bit more news to be released. I think that the activity and the volatility and the flow will come back next week, especially with the policy rate Friday next week to be released from the BOJ. Okay, so with all that, not much to talk about in terms of news. Then we'll look at the charts. It builds my patience waiting for a target to hit. Yeah, it does test patience, right? It does test the patience for it to push up, but it's also, for me, is that whenever you have a trade in the, whenever you have a trade open, it just opens you to risk, right? Any open position leaves you open to a risk. So as much as it's a good thing to test patience, it's not a great thing to leave trades open for too long, especially if it's not in a significant profit. Yes, Diana. I see Diana said Jin, and then I don't know. Okay, I'll just keep typing and I'll come back to that. So today being the 18th of April. No worries. I like how your keyboard just types it out. Yeah. Okay, today being the 18th of April, we've seen the dollar push down. What I'm actually thinking is we will see, I would like to see it drop. Honestly, I would like to see it drop, but I don't see any major news. I don't see any major reasons why it should drop that much. Let me just check. From this point up, we've got that point. We don't need that. This came down to the 50 from this move up. All right. Okay. There we go. And 61.8 coincides along this level here. Okay. Christopher says same with me. I only took 2 trades because I didn't see it. Yeah. This is the point where it really tests waiting, your discipline in waiting for a setup. Okay, so what I'm looking for here on the dollar would be for it to come back up into this level and test. All right, for it to test this level, and this is a support turned resistance. Actually, let me think. Not much news today. I'm actually thinking that it's either going to sit there and push down, test up and push down, maybe not ready for that big reversing move yet. Let me have a look. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I don't see any major news that should drive it back up. Okay, so what I'm thinking here on the dollar index is for it to retest 106 resistance, then, or in that area, and then trade down. Wait, I want to do something else as well. Take this move and let's check where it could pause at. Right, so it could come back up to just below 106 and then turn back down, or just sit there and turn back down. I'm still looking at a bit more downside just from that move down. Okay, so it could retest 105.90 to 106 resistance, consolidate between the levels. No, so thinking that it could push up and test this area. Then after that, reject to trade lower to 105.60. Right, so push up slightly, test around this area, reject, and push down to 105.60. So looking at a bit of a consolidation, a bit of a retracement, and then a bit more weakness on the dollar. Diana is asking, in this case, the minor pairs plays well, like I traded pound Aussie, and if I hold that trade, I'll get 120. Very nice. But I closed before, but still happy with it, no complaints. Yeah, I just never got into the habit of the minors or the cross pairs. But yes, when dollar is finding a bit of a direction, there is the opportunity to go on the cross pairs for trades. I just take the opportunity when it's a bit slow. I'll go work on something else. I'll do work on my other stuff, and then come back to it. So it's not always that I'm trying to find a trade, because what you might find as well is sometimes when you're seeking opportunities on trades, then it could very quickly become many different setups that you could be trying to get into, right? Maybe not even the best setups. Okay, so dollar, bit of a strength to retrace. If it stays below the resistance level at 106, we're looking for rejection to push back down. If it breaks back up, then you got the continuation up. But I think being a bit of a slow day, might see it push, test and reject and push back down. So with that said, then looking at the Kiwi, our trade from yesterday has not triggered. Take that away. It's still pushing up. 23.6 looks to be almost trying to break. I am looking at this to push up like that. So slowly pushing up to that resistance. Okay, so what I would actually be thinking here, adjusting this yesterday's idea, would be for it to still continue pushing slightly higher. To test that resistance and break down, I think it will be quite similar, but what we're looking for is this to break down, which would mean that I'll be looking at 5930, stop loss 30 pips, take profit 60 pips to the downside. Still the same thing, so 5930, 30 to 60, yeah, we'll keep that there. I think that it might even push out a little bit more and come back in. Right, if it breaks down from this level, let's say that the dollar does not come back down, it goes straight up, then you could also be looking to sell down from this point, 5910, stop loss very tight, no more than 20 pips at this point. Take profit will be down to here, about 40 pips. So that is the if it breaks now, but ideally I would like to see it come up, test that resistance, test that 38.2 level, reject, and then turn back down. Okay? Then on to, hey Lydia, how are you doing? On to the Aussie. So it's a bit interesting the way it's set up, as much as, and that's why at the start of the session I thought, we might see that retracement on the dollar for the continuation back up, right? Initially I was looking at this and I thought that we might see a break of that resistance back up again. I'm thinking with less news we might see it test and turn down, because I'm looking at a lot of these setups. A lot of these setups are not, they look like they're ready to go back into dollar strength. Right, they look like they're ready to go back into dollar strength. So I would actually be thinking like 6430 20 pips, 70 pips to the downside and maintain that. Right, 6430, 2070, hesitation at 6395. I'll maintain that view. So in these two cases, you have that dollar strength. If the dollar strength scenario comes back in, we're going to test and reject back down. Aussie testing and looking for that rejection back down. So Aussie might happen a bit sooner, right? So we're looking at this, the 23.6 level holding, breaking down. We're looking for that move lower. Okay, so this one still needs to go up and then turn down, maybe, and then that one can look like it's going to push lower. Lydia, I have not got to the yen. I'm just going to get to that next. And hey, Kelvin, it's been a long time. How are you doing? Long time no see. Good to have you back. Then on to the US yen. Right, so just as Lydia was asking, a quick recap as well is that we had a statement from the BOJ saying that short-term policy rate adjustments is likely to be slow. What I gather from that is that they might hold, they've hiked rates one time in 17 years. I don't think they're going to wait 17 years again for the next rate hike, but I don't think they're going to rush into another rate hike. And because of that, then that's likely to show a bit of weakness onto the yen, right? So what we're seeing now here is that, yes, the dollar has been pushing down since yesterday, this dotted line when we spoke, but we saw the yen push down and it's held just above that 154 level, right? It's held above that 154. At this point, I still wouldn't be too keen on trying to trade the yen. It's right in the middle of that 50% level, which coincides with 23.6, and that previous swing high with 155 as a ultimate target level for now. All right. Again, you can find out more about why that 155 from this that I wrote up here. How much higher can the US yen go? Through our extensions, we looked at 155 as a possible target level. With that, if you were to trade it up above that previous swing level, so 154.40, you could go 60 pip to 155. I think that is going to get messy around that point. You could do 30 to 60 there. And then you have a stop at about 30 pips. Right? This is really, if you really had to enter a trade on the US yen, I would prefer to say that, if there wasn't, if there was any other setup, maybe look into other setups rather than the US yen. Right? I don't particularly like this one, just that this would be a setup that that would be screaming out. CM, that would come up to that 61.8 level. Yeah, that 154.45. You can do a 20 pip stop. You have a 55 pip take to the upside. I feel that it's just in the middle. It's not really worth doing. No, don't do that. I would say that I prefer to look for the yen to either come or sit around there. If it breaks down, I'll look for that downward move, or if it breaks up, then I'll look for a possible sell in this region back down. Okay, so again, same thing on the yen would be a do nothing. Watch for 155 or 153.80. Actually, we won't even look at that. We look for 153.80. Right? Why I took away that arrow to the downside is because it could get to 153.80 and bounce. It came close, it did that one time, it came down, bounced off this level. So it could very well come down to this point and look to bounce back up. There is also still that threat for a intervention anytime from this week all the way through to next week on Friday, like I was sharing earlier. We do have the BOJ with their policy rate decision. All right, unlikely to raise rates, but we're looking at the monetary policy statement and the press conference. Maybe that might be the situation where there might be some adjustments. We can't say intervention, but some adjustments to the FX rates. Okay, so we wouldn't do anything on yen at this point. Hey, Angel Case, how are you doing? Kevin's lots of work. No worries. Alrighty, cool. Now, let me see. Am I happy with this? Yes, I am. I will, Diana. I will. With you and Lydia on the session, I will look at pound yen and Swiss yen and euro yen as well. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I wouldn't do anything at this point. It's not worth trying to trade it down or trade it back up. Okay, then on to the pound dollar. Look at that. We spoke about this yesterday. All right, we spoke about this. It's trapped. This was the news that we were talking about yesterday. Right, it pushed up the CPI at 3.2, if I'm not wrong. It pushed up and then it's just in that came right back down. Found that support is in that range. It hasn't done anything. All right. What I would say is that as it sits in that range, remember that although there's no major news today, tomorrow we do have the retail sales number to come from the UK, possibly some good news as well. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking it's going to stay in the range. And you look at this, right? We're looking at this, we're possibly thinking some dollar strength maybe to come. On the Aussie, maybe some dollar strength. It looks like it's all sitting in that consolidation for a continuation down. But it's not happening yet. It's sitting in a consolidation. All right. And I would actually start thinking that maybe instead of trying to trade this down. Wait, what's happening here? What? Okay, hang on a second. Okay. Well, seems like my TikTok got closed off. Oh well. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, so now looking at the pound dollar, I think that if it comes down to this point and pushes back up, it's going to stay in that range. I'm not too keen. I want to see. I don't like forcing anything here. I would like to see a bounce. So as it trades within the range, I'm actually thinking that could it do this? 1.2440, that's a 40 pip move. Could it do that? 95 to the upside. Stop loss tight at 25. Right? So I'm looking at it to come down, bounce, trade back up, and then push up to that resistance. So trade down a bit, on the dollar strength. So I'm looking at the dollar pushing it up and then turning back down, looking for this to turn down and push back up, and then onto tomorrow with the retail sales, maybe push it up towards that resistance level. A bit of a far-fetched move, but that would be something I'll be looking out for. 1.2440, 25 pip to 95 pip to the upside. Buy 1.2440, stop loss 25, take profit 95. Risky trade on the pound dollar. Yes, it is in the range, right? So it is in that relatively tight range. You know, if you had just traded up, that would be that 25 to 35 pip. You could still do that. I think it'd be a smaller time frame kind of trade. I'll be looking at that instead. Right, so I wouldn't be too keen on the pound dollar now. I'll look for it to come down, and then on the reaction at this point, then I'll look to see whether it's going to bounce, and then try and see whether I can trade it back up. Okay. Jamil's waiting for the round number, I think 1.24. I think if it comes down to 1.24, it could break lower already. Most likely, the alternate scenario would be it doesn't do anything here, and then it pushes right back up. Like that. So I'm not super happy with this either. Monday's analysis was super 74 pips and now back to entry. Yeah. Came down and then we just sat there. Okay, then on to the euro. Diners closed out her euro trade, so that's good. That did not reverse, so we'll take that away. 23 is there, 38 is there. You know, that's why I keep thinking, the way I'm looking at it, I keep thinking that we're likely to see the dollar strength come back into play. Everything looks like, well, not everything, but almost everything looks like it's shot down, retraced, looking to turn back down. It feels like we're going to see that dollar come back into play, but I don't see a big reason for it too, unless it's just purely a technical move. And for this, we have that. You know, I think that we have a couple here that's looking at dollar strength scenarios that's undecided, that we're looking at dollar weakness scenarios. What I'm actually thinking here is maybe a test and rebound back up. So on the dollar weakness scenarios, no major euro news either. So looking at this, a bounce 1.0680, stop loss 20, take profit 45 to the upside. Not a huge move expected there, but we could look for that. If not, then it's likely to just keep pushing up to that resistance. Then we look for a reaction at that point. Okay, so 1.0680, 20 to 45. There we go. Buy at 1.0680, stop loss 20, take profit 45 to the upside. Then on to US Swiss franc. It finally broke down, right? We were sitting there thinking that it's going to range. It broke that 91 level, right? It broke that 91 level. It needs to go down. Well, Neymar, I don't wish for that. So Neymar just left a comment saying that unless Israel attacks Iran, dollar strength. I hope that all the attacking is done just for the sake of everyone. Not political, but you know, just for humanity. Okay, looking at this, this one shows me a bit of dollar weakness to come back into play. So we're looking at it, if it breaks down from this point, you see this move up. That's about my 50% level. So if it breaks down from this point, 9086, 9085 breaks down, we could possibly see it trade lower. You'd be looking at 9080, stop loss tight, no more than 20 pips, take profit 45, 40 to the downside. There we go. On maybe that Kiwi strength, not Kiwi, the Swiss strength, or that dollar weakness to drag it down further, especially as it breaks below that 50% retracement level. Okay. Now we'll put that 9080 20 to 40. So, so 0.9080, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. See you, Jamil. Hey Diana, just as a side note, side track, how's the water situation in Dubai? How's the weather situation? Hope you're staying safe and dry. Yeah, you see the dollar now pushing lower as well. Still sitting there. Okay, then onto the US CAD. We were looking or hoping for a big push up before turning back down. It's front run all of us by turning down from this point. At this point, I still don't see a selling opportunity yet. Right, it's just come down 23.6. As much as we look like it's broken 23.6, there is that previous swing low here. All right, so this could be a bounce and a backup. Okay, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that it could have a little bit of a retrace, but ultimately I'm looking at it maybe coming down and then we could trade it back up. CAD news, nope. Nope. Okay, so we're looking at this as a possible bounce, trade lower and bounce, especially if it breaks below that swing low. 1.3720. Stop loss would be tight, 20 pips. Take profit would be about 55 to the upside. Okay. 1.3720, 20 to 55. I want to follow the trend on that, so 1.3720, 20 to 55. Okay. Still bad. Couldn't drive to office. Took me 2 hours to go out from my place and turn back home. I guess by tomorrow will be fine. Lovely weather. Love raining. Wow, I saw the pictures. It wasn't rain. I saw the videos. It was more like a massive storm. But hey, good that you're staying safe and dry. Airport still in chaos, slowly resuming flights. Yeah. I hope it resumes soon. I want to get there soon as well. Okay, dollar is weakening. Yeah, I think dollar is likely to come down to this point. So that's fine. And this is where you can see like dollar weakness is not dragging the US CAD down too much at this level. I'm still looking for a bit more momentum to push it down and then look for that bounce. Okay, dollar weakness pushing this up, that's fine. Aussie is sitting there looking for it to break. US yen not doing too much. Pound dollar, you could, I mean, we had this. I don't think it, I think it's a tiny one there. Yeah, 45 pips. I wouldn't, 20 pips stop loss, 45 pip take profit to the upside if you really had to push up. Euro dollar, we're looking for that to push up. I think this would be a 15-minute scalp to the upside if you had to. Kiwi, Swiss looks good. US CAD sitting there. Okay, now with all that, then looking at the Euro Yen, we're done with that. That did not trigger, take that away. Previous swing level, and that supporting to the upside. I do think that we're going to see it continue trading a little bit higher, especially if the euro does push up. And then we're looking for the euro yen to push up. Wouldn't trade it up, but you can see that how it's reacted to this 165.25 level. I would think that we look for it to trade up, then look to sell 150 below 165, stop loss 30 pips, and then your take profit you could scale it down, right? It doesn't have to be a 140 pip move to the downside. We need to see where it starts reversing to get our fib level. But for example, if it goes all the way up to that point, break 165, come down, I would say your first target level would be about 80 pips. Just that point there. Okay, so what we're looking for on the euro yen would be for it to do that and then break down. Then onto the pound yen. Most important, no. Yeah. Okay, pound yen is, look at that. If I just cut out this image, I just cut this part out, right? Remove that and then go to the pound and plonk it in. It still is that same area that has been consolidating within, right? So it's just sitting in that area, expecting the pound dollar to push up. You would again be looking for it to push up. I would actually, there is a bit of a swing level there. If it closes higher, that's tiny, you wouldn't want to do that. That's about 85, 90 pips to the upside. Stop loss could be about 30 pips. Could be something that, right, doing this, you know that there is a very evident risk that it might or it could go up to here and then turn back down. Right, if you got in at 192.50, then it could come up and test and go back down. I would, looking at the yen and the pound, pound's dragging up. Pound is dragging up. So looking at this, you could do that. If you really wanted to force a trade out, you could do that. But I would prefer if in the meantime you looked at 192.90, a 50 pip take profit, a tight stop loss of 25 at the most. 1:2 to the upside. I prefer that. Okay, let's do that one. 192.90, 25 to 50. then ultimately we're looking for that maybe to come back down again. Okay, so 192.90, 25 to 50 on the pound yen. That's fine, I think. Okay, because the pound dollar is going to drag it up. We're looking for it to get dragged up. Maybe the US yen is going to temper it back down a little bit. So looking for it to push up and then maybe come back down. Then onto the Swiss yen. Right, that did not trigger. Take that away. Came very close, consolidated, broke up, and then came back down. But on the Swiss yen, it's pushing higher. Right, because we are seeing that Swiss strength in play right now, some Swiss strength in play, right? As this pushes down, it's going to signal some strength on the Swiss franc. So with that, then that could push up. We have our previous level at about there. And then I would say another level about there. I'll keep that as a resistance level and then the next one up. So what I'll be looking for here, if the Swiss franc continues to trade lower, if the US Swiss franc continues to trade lower, then we'll look for this to push up. You would be looking at 170.10, 60 pip to the upside, 30 pips stop loss. Right, especially it needs to break above this point. Yeah, it needs to break above that point. We're going to see a bit more momentum to the upside. 170.10, 30 to 60 to the upside. That's sitting there. See, that's sitting in consolidation. We'll add that in. Consolidating. Could retest this, reject the trade lower to 105.60. Okay. Then with all that, looking at gold, we did well from yesterday. Went up, tested, we said 2400, it came to 2395, tested a 61.8 level, came right back down, tested this previous swing level, so that was perfect, or almost perfect, and then it pushed up, so it tested at 50, it pushed up, and now trying to pull back down. Interesting thing here is that, hey, dollar is still pushing lower, but yet we're looking at this pushing down a little bit. It should be pushing up, so I'm actually thinking that it's going to sit in here. Lingopedia is asking, look at gold on the H4 and daily time frame. You can do that. We do that first then. We do the daily. Daily is just in consolidation. It's had a massive climb up. We had a pin bar, did not drop, engulfed it, and then it's just sitting right there now. On the daily, I actually see a bit more upside, but I think that it's just going to sit there for now. Right? I think it's going to sit there for now. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. Yeah, so the daily, I don't see it being exciting unless it breaks above 2400. Then we could see a lot higher. Let me see. Yeah, if it breaks above 2400, we might see 2450, but it's not doing anything at that point yet. On the H4 time frame, it's very similar to what we see on the H1, but I like how it's rejecting that point. If this closes green, we might have the chart pattern. I think it's called three white soldiers or something, right? 3 consecutive bullish candles. Could see another push to the upside. Still wouldn't do anything unless it breaks above 2400. 2400 is the round number level that needs to be cleared before we're going to see any clearer direction. To the downside, you might be wondering, is there any downside potential on gold? This is on H4 time frame, possibly thinking that there might be limited downside, right? It needs to clear too many levels before we can see significant downside moves. I think the likely is if it breaks above, then we can see that back into that channel. All right, then again back to the it's 3 black crows and 3 white soldiers, I think. Yeah, so I'm looking at this. Yeah, what I would say is the flip side of what we said from yesterday. Yesterday, so it's going to come up this level, test and reject. What I'm looking for now would be for it to turn down and then test back up again. Right, so test 2365 and then to rebound to 2395. So we're looking for it to test 2365, reject and rebound to 2395. Okay, there we have it. Yep, okay, cool. There we have it. And another interesting one was Bitcoin, where I think, if I'm not wrong, was a halving yesterday. Was the Bitcoin halving yesterday? I saw some news about it, but we just saw Bitcoin drop from, this was from that 62,655 level, down, recover a bit. Looks like we might see a bit more downside come back into play. All right. Now, with all that said, please remember, do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button. And if you haven't already, do join us on Discord. I hope you might not have that many trades to get into, but if you do get into any trades, please trade well and trade safe. I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care now. Bye-bye.